If you're chasing a dream that less than 1% make it in, here is how to boost your odds. In this video, I am breaking down exactly what doubles your chances in careers with the lowest success rate. To figure it out, I studied the journey of my friend Lamar Richardson, an actor and producer who went from working at Target to winning not one, but 2 Tony Awards in less than a year, which, by the way, only 0.00015% of people win. What we found is that there are 8 secrets that Lamar and so many other successful people did to become part of the 1%. And trust me when I say that after watching this video, you just might be thanking Lamar in your acceptance speech. All right, guys, welcome to the Anatomy of a Dream.
Morning!
What's up?
So we're on our way to meet Lamar at Columbia University, where we actually met in like 2014. I actually directed him in a music video. It was my first music video ever. And not only did I shoot him once in that music video, but I had to do it twice because I screwed up the first time. There's Lamar! You gotta start somewhere, right? All right, guys, let's do this. Hello, look at you!
Oh my gosh. Wow. I did many a show here. I'm a little overwhelmed. This is where it all started.
Yeah. So I feel like I have to start with the question, what's your dream?
My dream is to be an entertainment entrepreneur, multi-hyphenate, acting, producing.
Was that the dream originally?
No. I wanted to be a district attorney.
The most incredibly successful people in tech, entertainment, and even sports didn't start with the thing they're most famous for.
Hi, I'm Ken Jeong, aka Dr. Ken.
Ken Jeong was a practicing doctor before The Hangover. Haley Khalil was studying biomedical engineering before becoming a model and a content creator. While you think the way that you increase your odds is to focus on one thing, what blows my mind is that your odds actually go up when you take on other roles first. And that is exactly what Lamar is showing us right now.
From an early age, I was very much so like wanting to try different things, wanting to get out there and see the world and just be different. And then went to Duke my freshman year. After spending that first year at Duke, I realized, I don't want to do law anymore. So then I said, okay, what next? Business.
And it didn't stop there. Lamar went into the finance world and got offered a prestigious internship at Barclays. So what exactly was he doing here that increased his odds? Well, he was skill stacking. Skill stacking is this idea that while certain skills and experiences may seem random in the moment, over time they not only connect, they form a stack. And in difficult industries, having just one skill, let's say acting, sometimes that isn't enough.
Now more than ever, you have to be a multi-hyphenate. Because things have changed so much, technology-wise, opportunity-wise, you just can't be one thing anymore if you want to have a sustainable career.
Okay, so here's why skill stacking increases your odds of success. Take a musician. Being talented is one thing, but a musician who knows how to market themselves, create content, and build an audience online, now they've stacked another skill set, and suddenly their chances of breaking through are way higher. Or an actor with business and finance experience. Well, we'll tell you how this pays off later. No wink. Is my wink that bad? But here's the thing, you can't skill stack forever. Eventually, you're going to need to double down.
The fall of that sophomore year, I did Funny House of a Negro, which filled me in a way that I never felt before. And I realized I want to perform. I want to be an actor. I want to perform. So I was offered an internship at Barclays working in operations, a $10,000 scholarship and free housing for the summer. I initially accepted it, and then after realization and reflection, I turned it down. And that was the defining moment of me choosing entertainment versus business or law or any of the previous things that I had prior to that moment.
I feel like especially at that time, that's a really scary decision to make.
People thought I was crazy.
The most successful people, they shrink the time between idea and execution. In fact, it is the one thing that I have seen over and over and over and over again.
One of my aunts always, she would say, just jump off the cliff. An idea, okay, don't want to do it? Great, go for it. You have to feel that there's an unflinching resolve within yourself, that you want to do something, that you don't care what others think, you just have to go after it.
So in order to increase your odds, there comes a point when you have to shift from going broad to going deep. I want you to think of this like a T shape. The top of the T is your range. Think of it as the different skills that you built. But the stem of that T is depth, choosing one lane and drilling down. So in this season of depth, you are going to inevitably have to sacrifice to do this.
My social life disappeared. A lot of my friends said, what happened to you? You disappeared. But I was literally downtown. Downtown training, working, coming back for classes, rehearsing, doing the shows. It was a lot of sacrifice.
But let's be real, sacrifice by itself does absolutely nothing. All it does is just buy you time. And in that time, you should be dedicating it to one thing only, your craft. But when it comes to craft, there are actually two components to it that we have to master. And the first one is technical skill.
I trained in everything, stage combat, speech, voice, diction, all the different things that you train for to kind of put together a whole curriculum of sorts so that I can have a toolkit.
So as you can see here, technical skill is the knowledge and techniques that form the foundation of craft. It's basically the tools and the method that you need to do it well. But there is a second component to craft that we need to master, and that is performance skill.
Once you check off all the boxes and you're trained, then you need to be able to put it into practice, because some people can be as trained as ever, but they're terrible auditioners. And if you can't do that, you'll never get a job.
You looked at those auditions as your education as well.
Yeah. You know, you have to be comfortable with people just analyzing you and looking at you and seeing, are you right for this or not? And, you know, if you audition 100 times, you might get one. Some of the best actors I've ever met in my life are stuck in classrooms.
So in a nutshell, performance skill comes from doing it in the real world and in real time. So let's take basketball. A technical skill is knowing how to shoot the perfect shot and the artistry of knowing how to actually do that. But the performance skill, it's playing the actual game. And when you look at the most successful people, they really focus in on the performance skill because they understand that this is where they get feedback and this is what sharpens their craft.
And so you were saying that you were auditioning while you were in college?
Yeah, so I was going to open calls. So basically I would go get up at 5 a.m., go downtown and get on a list to hopefully audition.
And where were these auditions?
Actors Equity downtown.
Actors Equity. It's probably the best example of what it means to shoot your shot in a brutally difficult industry. It's a union for the stage actors, and if you've ever heard of performers lining up at 5 in the morning in the freezing cold just for a chance at an audition, that's the Equity line.
You spent a lot of time in that building over there, right? It's that one?
A lot of time.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
How much time were you spending there?
2 to 3 times a week. Nothing worse than getting there like at 6 and seeing a line already. You're like, ah.
Here's how the Equity line works. The office opens at 8 a.m., but the line starts at 5. And there are 2 lists, equity and non-equity. Every hour, they call roll. If an equity actor isn't there, that's when the opportunity opens up for someone on the non-equity list. And that is the line Lamar spent a lot of time in.
It's kind of sad because, you know, you go in and there's like a lot of hopeful people who are waiting for a shot to be seen. So there's some days I went where no one got called off the list.
And then how do you get yourself to come back the next day?
In hard industries, success usually isn't about being the most talented. It's about being the one who lasts the longest. I don't know if you guys have seen this Mr. Beast episode where everyone has to keep their hand on a fancy car and whoever lasts the longest wins. I honestly think that success works a lot like that game. If you really think about it, the people who achieve their dreams, they're not always the best ones. What you'll honestly find is that they're often the ones that were willing to outstay the others at all costs.
You know, people joke that you have to be crazy to want to do this. There is a level of insanity because everything is telling you you're not going to make it, but you have to overstep that and still choose to show up for yourself and do it. It really is just an audition around the corner. It's like you really never know, so that's what makes you always stick around. You're like, okay, just one more audition, just one more casting call, one more meeting of someone, and then I'll get something.
And persistence isn't just about grit. It's also about using the right tools so that you can actually stay in the game. And that is exactly why we built Bizly. A place where you can upload projects, collaborate, credit each other, and actually find other creatives. And the best part, it's free, and you don't need anyone else to be on Bizly in order to use it. You can still share it out and treat it like your own website from day one. Bizly makes it simple to put your work where opportunity can see it, so you can spend less time knocking on doors and more time keeping your hand on the car. So let's get back to the video. One of the fastest ways to increase your odds is honestly by putting yourself in proximity to the people who can open the doors. This is why Lamar applied to work for legendary Susan Batson. She's known for coaching stars like Nicole Kidman, Juliette Binoche, and Oprah. For him, it wasn't about the job title. It was about being in the room where opportunity actually circulates.
I feel like my career started that way. By working at Susan Batson's studio, there was a reading of a screenplay that happened, and I was cast in it, and I was able to have Felicia Rashad see my work, and then that led to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Right, it's proximity.
By being seen in the right room at the right time, Lamar multiplied his chances and Ma Rainey became the break that launched his career.
Felicia Rashad, Lou opened the door for me in this business, and that moved me to LA, and I stayed in LA for 3 years after that because of that.
This is definitely like that feeling of like my life
It's changing.
is different now.
It's changing.
I am going to be rich and famous in the next 6 months.
Right.
Everyone will know
All
my
the
name.
above, all the above. I thought I arrived. I thought I was gonna do the show and then book a series or a film from somebody coming to see it and casting me in something. So then it closed. Then I was working at Target right after.
This is the part where people quit.
Yeah. yeah. There was a very difficult moment that came up. So I worked at Target for a month. Then after that, I was an Uber Lyft driver and I did audience work where you get paid to work in the audience. And there was a moment where I had just gotten my car and I literally had to borrow money from one of my friends to put the down payment to get that car. I remember breaking down in the street because I was just like, I did not move out here to have to be going through this right now. I'm making $10 an hour in an audience and driving for Uber and Lyft. Like, is this what this is supposed to be? And I had to really just anchor down and say, I don't understand any of this. I don't know what this is for, but I'm gonna stick with it because I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what it takes to make it in this industry and I'm not gonna give up.
This is arguably the most important lesson of increasing your odds of success. Mindset. And why is that? Well, there are two reasons. First, it fuels that persistence that we've been speaking about. And second, it doesn't just increase your chances of winning, but it actually helps you get there faster. And to prove it, there's this fascinating study where participants were actually asked a very simple question, which was, do you consider yourself lucky or unlucky? Both groups were given the same tasks, and it was to go through a newspaper and count the number of photos that were in it. But there was of course a twist, because on the second page of that newspaper in huge print was a message that said, stop counting, there are 42 images in this newspaper. And here's what's crazy. Almost all of the people who saw themselves as lucky, they noticed it right away and they finished it within a few seconds. But almost none of the unlucky people did. Instead, they kept counting, and as a result, they made more mistakes. And so here is the takeaway. When you see yourself as lucky, you notice the opportunities that others overlook. And when we don't, we risk missing something that's right in front of us. And that mindset alone, it can shift our odds.
So COVID happened and everything shut down. And I had my come to Jesus moment and realized, okay, I can't just act, I need to do something else. My wife and I had always wanted to be entrepreneurial in some sort. So I said, okay, we'll start a production company.
Pivoting is actually one of the most overlooked parts of chasing dreams, meaning we don't change the goal, maybe we just change the path that we use to get there. And for Lamar, that meant looking into adjacent opportunities in the industry. So instead of only chasing acting jobs, he sent a cold email to the producing team of Death of a Salesman, and they happened to have an open co-producer spot. And guess what? They gave it to him.
We are here because of a cold email.
Literally.
This is crazy. You can't use the excuse that you are waiting for someone else, because you can send a cold email and then win 2 Tonys and then have a show on Broadway, okay?
Within a year of Lamar positioning himself as a producer, he won 2 Tonys, one for Best Revival of a Musical and one for Best Revival of a Play. But here's the thing. It didn't start with that cold email. It started years before, when Lamar was studying business and finance. And so remember earlier when we were talking about skill stacking and I try to wink? Well, this is the part where those skills transfer.
It's all transferable. A lot of being a producer at times is raising capital and financing for the shows. And as a co-producer, that's your main job. Having worked in those places before, being able to meet those people eye to eye and to have them trust me for it.
What would have happened had you not done those skills?
I would have a harder time convincing people. I fully believe that if you want to increase your odds of success, you have to be willing to put yourself into a position where you can be the decision maker.
Positioning. Positioning is how you place yourself in the world so that opportunities and influence and success flow towards you. Lamar wanted to be an actor, but he made the strategic decision and pivoted to position himself as a producer. Why? Well, because producing put him in the room where decisions were made and gave him a seat at the table. It's not about abandoning your dream. It's about placing yourself where the odds shift in your favor. But hold up, because here's the question that I kept coming back to. When you become so successful in one lane, does it make it harder for people to see you in another?
For the longest, I was ashamed. People thought I was putting down acting once and for all, and I wasn't. There's a lot of people now who only know me as a producer. So when I do an episode of Law & Order like I did recently, they're like, oh, you act? And I'm like, yeah, I trained and started that way, and this came later. Didn't mean that I was a failure as an actor or that I wasn't an actor anymore. It was that now I'm also this.
Okay, so what does this mean? Just because the outside world starts to see you as one thing, you have to remember that you're never really locked in. You can always shift. I mean, look at Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. At one point, he was known as a wrestler, and now he's known as one of the biggest actors in the world. And so I guess what I'm realizing is that what people see you as is a lot less important than what you see yourself as. Lamar saw himself as the Tony Award winner before anyone else did. And I think in these competitive industries, it's almost designed to make you feel so incredibly separated and far away from what you want to be. I mean, on one hand, you go on social media and you see these successful people living the life that you want, and then you look at the news and the headlines are saying everyone is losing their jobs, Hollywood is screwed, productions are down, and the 1% has become the 0.00001%. But I am accepting that those odds do not need to apply to me as long as I don't let them. Because I can always greenlight myself. Be the producer that casts you. You might just need to have to be the writer and director too. Be the investor who believes in your idea, even if the only capital that you have right now is your time. Become the person that you've been waiting for, the one whose approval you think that you need in order to live your dream. So if you have to take one thing away from this video, let it be this. The dream isn't decided by the odds, it's decided by you. And you decide the skills you stack, the mindset that you refuse to let go of, and the rooms that you fight to be in. Less than 1% might make it, but you 100% decide the anatomy of your dream. All right, guys, I will see you in the next one.